Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
It is Thursday night for us, Friday morning for them.
Actually, it's Friday morning for us as well.
Oh, it's 12:17, past midnight.
So, good morning.
It is December 16th, 2022, and we are here at the house. What happened?
Nothing.
No. And we had my parents' 61-year anniversary.
I know. 61 years.
Yeah. So me and my brothers planned and took them to dinner, and whichever of the grandkids were able to make it, because it is a Thursday night, but 61 years, guys, and it was really nice. Both of them got steaks. That's something, guys, that my parents
It's
don't.
very rare.
They don't go get steaks.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really nice, and they got to hang out and.
I know that we introduced them to Sizzler, and then they like Sizzler.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
went
to
to Sizzlers, guys.
Yeah, so it was a great time, and I know that Eli and them went evangelizing.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, we were with the family.
Yeah, we were right down this. We weren't too far from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing. Benjamin came home and was sharing with me how that went.
Yeah.
So that was really nice, and so other than that, we're doing some things at the church. Brought some of that work home, and I've been working on that. Abraham's been working on it.
Yeah.
So
and I just was taking care of Lily all day last night, yesterday, and then this morning, and then she was feeling a little bit better this evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been doing better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you touch that?
I don't know.
Guys, we're working on something, but you'll be able to see it pretty soon.
I feel like a little kid.
Probably maybe after the holidays, you'll figure out we're doing something different with one of the rooms at the church. So, anyways, guys, other than that, getting ready for our Christmas service. That's going to be this Sunday, which is, what is it? What's the date? Do you know? Is it the 18th?
Yeah.
18th.
Mm-hmm.
Because Christmas is, I believe, Thursday or Friday. No, Sunday.
Christmas Day is Sunday, babe.
Yeah, Christmas Day is Sunday, and obviously a lot of people are going to be with their families. We're still going to have service, actually. We're still going to have service for those, because we don't want to cancel, because what about people that don't have family or don't have somewhere, or their family's far?
Yeah.
And us ourselves, we usually celebrate with family Christmas Eve. So Christmas Day is Sunday, so we're still going to have service, but we usually have our Christmas special, and obviously we don't want to do it Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it
the 18th.
The 18th.
Mm-hmm.
And so looking forward to that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I did have a passage. Can I share it?
Let's do it.
Okay, guys. So this passage is the Gospel of Luke, chapter 22, verse 3 through 6.
Okay, Luke 3?
22.
22.
3 through 6.
Okay.
The reason being is it's more of a question. And I don't know if we're going to have an answer. But it's more of a question. Sometimes we like to do verses that make you ponder and make you like, what happened there? Or what is going on there? So in Luke 22, I'm just going to go ahead and read it. It says this. I'm reading out of the ESV. And you will be reading out of the Message, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it says this. It says, "Then Satan entered into Judas, called Iscariot, who was of the number of the 12. He went away and conferred with the chief priests and officers how he might betray him to them. And they were glad and agreed to give him money. So he consented and sought an opportunity to betray him to them in the absence of a crowd. I'm going to look up the word conferred while you're reading that.
Okay. So David read out of the ESV, and I'll be reading out of the Message. That's when Satan entered Judas, the one called Iscariot. He was one of the 12, leaving the others. He conferred with the high priests and the temple guards about how he might betray Jesus to them. They couldn't believe their good luck and agreed to pay him well. He gave them his word and started looking for a way to betray Jesus, but out of sight of the crowd.
I looked up the word conferred, and in the context of that, it means have discussions or exchange opinions. So let's talk about this, because this leads to the question I had, and I told Sharon, I said, let's talk about this because this is interesting. But first, the conferred, it says he went away and conferred with the chief priests and officers. So conferred means have a discussion or exchange opinions. So this dude, Judas, he literally went to the enemies of Jesus and discussed and exchanged opinions on how he might betray Jesus. Wow. And after they were glad and agreed to give him money. So we see here, real easy, we see what the goal was, is money.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happens today. People do things for money. So he consented, right? That means he agreed with them, right?
Yeah, agreed with them. Yeah.
And sought an opportunity to betray him to them in the absence of a crowd. So my question is this, is why did Satan choose him to enter into?
I like this right here where it says they couldn't believe their good luck. Like it's like how easy it came to them.
They didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
It came from within.
Yeah, it's like it came so easy to them.
Wow.
Like they didn't have to put no work into finding the betrayer.
They didn't have to shake him down. They didn't have to plot. It came to them. It fell on their lap.
It fell in their lap.
Wow. And so the question is, like in the beginning, it says, then Satan entered into Judas. So it's a good question, right? Is why out of the 12 did Satan enter? Could Satan have entered into anybody else? We do see a part where Jesus rebukes Peter.
Yeah.
It says, get thee behind me, Satan.
Yeah.
So what was happening here? What was really happening? And the fact of why did Satan use Judas? And the question is, did Judas open that door, or did Judas have no say-so? Like Judas is just sitting there loving Jesus, and all of a sudden, boom, Satan enters him, and I'm controlled by Satan. I must betray him. I'm controlled by Satan. I must betray Jesus. Or did Judas have a wicked heart? Or did he have a non-belief? Did you know Judas was the only one that was from the city? All the other ones were little country guys. Peter, they were just simple people. But Judas was from Jerusalem. And I guess the question I want to ask is, what do you guys think? Did Judas have a choice, or because of the door he opened in the sense of wickedness, Satan says, "Ooh, boom, there's my opportunity."
And being from the city, I'm sure he was exposed to so much more.
To money,
he was the easiest one to, yeah.
And I'm not dogging anybody that comes from a big city, but let's be honest, man, it's harder to find honest people. And unfortunately, because in many cities, it's the dog eat dog world, and people just will people get street smart, and have to get very smart, very street smart, very sly, very, unfortunately, to many manipulative. It's harder when I see somebody come from a big city that loves the Lord wholeheartedly. I rejoice because that to me it comes harder.
Well, I just think it's just not the people. I think it's the way of life in a
Hmm.
city is a lot different. It's a lot different than coming from from a rural city or from the country or
Yeah.
from different, because life is a lot slower.
Hmm.
When you have a lot more crowded space or crowded area, then you have a lot more foot traffic. You have a lot more going on just in general.
Yeah.
So I think so it makes sense. Anytime you have an area where it's heavy populated, and you're going to have a lot more activity, a lot more going on.
Yeah.
So it makes
You
sense.
know, I don't have the scriptures written down, but the Bible does say that Judas was the one that was a treasurer. He's the one that held the money.
Yeah.
You know, we know that anytime something mentions something in scripture, it's important.
Yeah.
The Bible doesn't say words just as filler. Everything is there is important. So it was very clear that we know that Judas was the one that held the treasures. And the fact that here we can see very clearly that his whole consenting, his whole conferring, bottom line was Judas wanted to get paid. So I wonder, was was he always like that from the beginning, or did he get disenchanted because maybe he thought, because you know how a lot of people thought Jesus was going to come and take over the Romans,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden Judas was like, this ain't what I thought it was going to be like.
Yeah.
This is, everybody hates him, nobody likes him. Maybe
He was swayed by money.
yeah, did I jump into the wrong thing? Is this Jesus for reals? I mean, he's poor, he sleeps anywhere. This ain't the what I thought. This ain't what I signed up for.
Yeah. But I think it can be in anything though. It's like you have people that start off very humbly in a career, or you
Hmm.
have even people who start humbly as, even, let's be real, even as pastors.
Yeah.
Pastors start very humbly as well too in a small church, and then they grow and they grow and they grow, and they
Yeah.
end up becoming big-headed, and they end up allowing themselves to become entitled by titleship and
Hmm.
all this stuff, and it becomes the same thing in careers, in political movements,
Yeah.
in so many areas. And it's sad because we allow ourselves to be taken by the things of the world, and that's where the doors actually become
Yeah.
open, because the moment you allow yourselves to be filled with this pride and all of this, it's a foothold to the things of the world, and that's where the enemy comes in and says, see,
Yeah.
that's where I can get them, that's where I'm going to go in, and that's it, that's all it takes.
I mean, even like something as you were speaking made me remember, without saying the name, you worked for a company and it was very humble.
Yeah.
And now, um, literally, your boss is probably a lot of you guys watch him on YouTube and don't even realize, because the guy's a multimillionaire now.
Yeah.
And but you saw the change,
Yeah, I did.
and was it humble?
It was very humble. I
He's,
was part of those humble beginnings, and I remember even being around his father, taking pictures with him, his wife, and everybody.
were you
And
there when he would barbecue for everybody?
yeah, everything.
And it's crazy because he admits now in a video that he did that because he couldn't afford for catered food.
Yeah,
So he would just like, he would be on the grill barbecuing.
we would do everything. I mean,
Yeah.
even to the points where we would go take our trips, our Hawaii trips, or just,
Mhm.
certain things. But it's crazy because, when you got into a business, you thought that you were doing the business because you thought it was for the cause, the purpose, why we were doing the business.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for the hoorah part of it, it was because really realistically, you realized that you were doing that business because of the services that people needed, because it was so important, you know, of the services, because it is important and why it's needed, and you don't want to see people die without insurance.
Yeah.
And then when I began to see, you know, I don't know, it was just really, really
Yeah.
hard.
But I mean, that's a good example, right?
It really is.
And so I think that
People change.
Judas jumped into this thinking, possibly, we don't know. I mean, we weren't alive. No, none of us were alive. We don't know. All we can do is look at the clues that were left behind. We see that he was from a big area. He was not, maybe, possibly. I'm not saying. I don't know, but maybe he saw the other ones as simple-minded, because they're a bunch of fishermen and country folk.
Yeah.
Maybe a city guy, and more. Maybe he was into the financials, and we don't know. But he held the treasury, so obviously there was something about him that the other guy said, "Man, I don't know nothing about money. I don't. You do it. You're from the city. You're from the big area. You're from." For whatever reason, obviously, Judas betrayed Jesus for a few pieces of silver, guys.
But this is why it's so important that we always, you know, just don't forget where we come from, you know. And this is why it's so important that even when we go up to give a word, or when we do something unto the Lord, that we do it with fear and trembling, you know. Always, you know, the day that you ever do something for the Lord, and we do it so overconfidently, then you better check yourself. Like, really, we gotta check ourselves, guys. We gotta check our heart, because if we're a little too overconfident, then we really we gotta question and say, am I doing this to glorify myself, or am I doing it to glorify the Lord? Am I doing it unto people? Am I doing it because I want the attention of people, or am I really truly doing it unto the Lord? Because, man, I'll tell you that the day you just don't feel nervous anymore, the day that you go up there and your hands are not shaking, your legs are not shaking, and your voice is not cracking or anything like that, is the day that you kind of just lose the reason why you're doing it.
Guys, I'm not joking. I have prayed many times over the last, how long have I been in ministry? 12 years?
Yeah.
I'm like, Lord, do not let this church blow up. I'm honest with you. I don't. I say, Lord, send people that truly want to be discipled. Send people that truly just want to learn. You know, I would rather have, 100 people that just love Jesus than 1,000 people because I'm a great speaker on this or that or whatever. I mean, just I don't want to have to face that.
Yeah.
I really don't. You know what I mean? And I guess because when I did music before in the past, that stuff took off. It took off fast, and I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I know that roller coaster ride already, and sometimes I see people in ministry chase that roller coaster, like, because they think that's what they want. And I'm like, you have no idea what you're asking for. How about we just serve the Lord? How about that? And just minister to whoever God puts in front of us, and that's it. Keep it simple, but guys, ultimately the question is this, and I don't want to, it's a little late and I don't want to stay long, but the question is, what do you guys think? Did Judas have no say so and Satan just entered him and all of a sudden he's controlled by Satan? Or was there something in his heart that Satan saw as an opportunity to say, there's my door?
I think he was lacking something, and there was something in his heart, for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think there was already betrayal in his heart.
I agree.
I think there was greed. There was greed in his heart.
That's the door.
Yeah, and that was the door that the enemy came, that Satan used, because when if there's something in the heart, then the enemy sees that. You have given him an opportunity. You have given him something to use as an advantage for
grasp
him
onto.
to grasp and say, you know what, I got my hook in, and let me go ahead and rip it open. And you have given him an opportunity. You know, when this is my best way of saying it. You know, when you have something that has been ironed on so tight, like a piece of plastic or something that has been ironed on so tightly, and you're trying to find, you know, when you have a tape, a roll of tape,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to find the edge, and
Yeah.
Oh my God, guys, when you're trying to find that roll of edge,
especially that cheap Dollar Tree tape.
yes, oh my God, it gets on my nerves, you guys, when you're trying to find the edge and you're trying to find it. We should be like that roll of tape that you cannot find the edge.
For the enemy. Well, the enemy
Yeah,
can't. Yeah.
where the enemy cannot find the edge
Good
at
example.
all. And see, a lot of the times, you know, the moment that the enemy has, boom, that's what happens when there's sin, you know, that's what happens when there's something. The enemy's constantly trying and trying, and he'll keep on rolling that whole thing over and over and over, and he'll keep trying to find an edge, guys. He'll keep rolling it over and he'll find an edge, and he'll be like, oh, let me keep.
You're shaking the camera.
Yeah, and he'll peel it. But you know what? That cheap tape will peel, and he'll lose grasp of it if he can't get it, guys.
Well, then when you finally get it, it just takes a little piece off.
Yeah. But that's how we should be, where he cannot grasp onto anything.
Amen.
Nothing at all. But see, if you have something in your heart, he's going to grasp onto that tape, and you know, and he's going to be able to peel right through. And guys, don't give him anything.
Yeah.
Do not give him anything.
I agree.
Because that's exactly what he wants. So evaluate what's in your heart. You are the only one that can, you know, just come before the Lord and just say, Lord, evaluate my heart, what's in my heart, because sometimes there could be things that you don't even know yourself. There's sometimes things that are non-intentional, you know, that sometimes we don't even realize. And we're like, Lord, if there's something in my heart that I don't even realize that is wrong or right, Lord, then take it from me. Forgive me, Lord, you know, because sometimes we don't even know. And that's why it says every day, the renewing of our minds and the renewing of our hearts, and just renewal of everything. Lord, just take what's in my heart and forgive me, Lord, every day.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's good. I don't think I can think of a better example than that tape.
I just know that that tape's stubborn, man.
Yeah, you turn that negative, because I hate that tape, but you turn it into a positive. You know, the Bible says, I'll say this though, the Bible says that Jesus says that Judas would have been better if he were not even born for what he did.
Gosh.
Man, you know, and yeah. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much our devotional today. You know, Sharon was talking about interviewing some women later in the future. So I don't know what you have planned on that. That's going to be interesting.
I'm excited, guys. I'm excited about a lot of things. I really, really am. You know, I'm excited about studying with some of you women.
I think you'll do great, you know. And so, guys, the year's coming to an end. It's time to reflect. The time to say, you know what?
The best is yet to come.
What did I lack? And I am not, again, talking about, what are they called again? I keep saying that the last few devotions.
What?
The promises people make every year.
Oh, the New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, I am not talking about resolutions. I'm talking, see, here's the thing, guys. When you're in Christ, a yes is yes and a no is no. Don't make some crazy resolutions that you know you're going to mess up by the third day. I'm talking about saying, Lord, how can I go into the deep waters with you this year, you know, this next year? You know, when it
Yeah.
comes to the things, yeah, you know, I make resolutions too, but I'm talking about when it comes to God, that is not a resolution. When it comes to the Lord, other stuff, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna drink so many Cadillacs. I'm not, and then you know, drinking 2 Cadillacs a day. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you make an oath unto the Lord, a vow unto the Lord. Make this next year deeper in the things of God than ever before. Anything else?
Yeah. Well, just, I like this little saying that I always hear here. It's not who you are, but it's whose you are.
Mm. Amen.
Yeah. And we belong to Jesus.
Yeah.
So just remember that, guys.
All righty.
All right, guys.
See you later.
Have a beautiful morning.
Bye.
Bye bye. Love you guys.